We are back on He Said,
She said.
and I'm Michael.
Okay.
I'm back with Kay again. Thank you, Kay, for coming back, even though we haven't gone far. The last time we talked, we were talking about dating, relationship issues, online dating especially, and the kinds of people you encountered in online dating. There's a slight disadvantage because you're very attractive. You have a great figure. You are sexy and sultry and all those things. So you have everything going for you.
Thank you.
And then I mentioned that you don't have everything going for you.
No.
So I wanted to let the audience, not to be a Debbie Downer because it's sad, but that you are doing all these things and keeping yourself in good shape, keeping your condition, and you, like I said, you look beautiful and you're ill. So tell me a little bit about what you've got.
I have a chronic terminal illness, and it's called scleroderma. It's
Scleroderma?
Scleroderma, and my body overproduces collagen. When this happens, it makes your skin tight, and it makes
That's why you look like you're 19.
Yes. And it hardens your organs, your liver, your kidneys, your heart, your lungs, and so
it hardens them.
Yes, it makes them fibrosis, and so I have a pulmonary fibrosis, which is also a deadly terminal illness. And there's no cure. There's no cure for scleroderma either. There's treatment to slow down the progress.
So when did you first get diagnosed?
I got diagnosed in the beginning of 2015. And the doctor that diagnosed me, first I got diagnosed with pulmonary fibrosis because they saw the fibrosis in my lungs. And the doctor said, I have good news and bad news. I said, good news, or it says, the good news is that you don't have cancer. The bad news is that you have pulmonary fibrosis. And so I said, oh, okay. So how do we treat it?
Right.
He said, well, actually, we don't. And I was like, what do you mean we don't?
What do you mean we don't?
Yeah, and so what does that mean? He goes, well, with pulmonary fibrosis, there's no treatment, there's no cure. All I can do is make you comfortable until you pass.
Wow.
And I go, what do you mean until I pass? What are you talking about? And he said, you have about 2 to 5 years to live.
Wow.
And that was in the beginning of 2015. And I was devastated, and I couldn't believe he called me on a Friday night and told me this on the phone.
Yeah, that's kind of weird.
Yeah.
Shoot that guy.
And at the time I was dating my best friend. He was my boyfriend, and he was sitting there when the doctor called, and we both cried. But we both had a pity party, and after I got over the shock, I kind of got up and dusted myself off, and it was really hard the first year. I was put on oxygen 24/7. I couldn't walk even 5 feet. I would pass out. Luckily, I was in great shape. I was in the best shape of my life. I was training for a marathon. I was going to do a bikini show. And that helped me. That helped you
mount a battle against it because you're in good shape. Now, if you had been obese,
had I been obese, and had I not, if I didn't watch what I eat, if I wasn't retired and had a lot of stress in my life, and I wouldn't be here right now, honestly.
Let me just step away from that. That's a story that I really want to get a lot more information about, but not on this show.
Yeah.
What I want to talk to you about that relates to that is when you have a relationship with someone whose condition changes. Usually it happens when you're older and you get some kind of a disease or something like that, and you have a heart attack. Now you're incapacitated. When you get into a relationship with someone and they are not as able, usually that affects the relationship because now a person is a caregiver, for them. But you're still extremely active.
I am very active. I think I scare men away because even though they, I'm not embarrassed. If I need my portable oxygen concentrator, I'm not embarrassed to bring it with me on a date. Usually the men are very understanding, and I tell them up front.
Okay, so let me ask you this, because men and women hear and see things differently. You said that men are very understanding, but how long do those relationships last? You go out on a date with a guy and you bring your oxygen tank and your mask and your tube and you sit down to dinner. How many dates do you get with that same guy after that?
Let's see. I've had a few dates where it was a one-time date, but I don't think it was so much that I was on oxygen because I can clearly see what shape I'm in.
Because let me just say something here. I'm saying from a guy's point of view,
Mm-hmm.
it wouldn't matter whether you had an arrow through your head. You
Yeah.
know, you still look so good
Yeah.
and so called doable
Yeah.
that what the heck? But isn't that dangerous for you?
No,
Okay.
it was dangerous the first year that I was diagnosed because
Okay.
I had to learn to breathe with the lung capacity that I have now. I lift weights. I hike. I dance
I
Zumba.
I saw a video
They-
with you doing
they-
Zumba. That's
yeah,
cracked me
they-
up. And you're
They,
good.
they
by the
call
way.
me the Zumba queen.
Yeah.
You know,
You're actually a good Zumba dancer.
and I do Zumba in 3-inch ballroom shoes.
Mhm.
You know, I make it very clear to my dates that I'm not going home with them,
Mm-hmm.
and that to me it's not about the sex right away. Like, let's jump into it.
Mhm.
So I think that the ones that are afraid to go forward with me because of my illness, because they're afraid maybe of being my caretaker, you know, they're going to have to take care of me, not financially, because I'm very well off financially. I'm very independent, but I think just health wise, you know, just to, you know, whatever they're going to have to do for me. It's more of a, if they're just interested in sex and they're hearing from me that you're not going to get any,
Mhm.
then they won't ask me out again.
Right.
Yeah.
Because
that's
they're on a
usually-
mission.
And that's usually men that are, or boys. I call them boys because that's what they are. When they're on a mission, and I make it clear that I'm been there, done that, and I
Right.
want to take it slow.
Right.
Then I won't see the guy again
And so that's
because they're on a mission.
That's right. That's one of the rewards of being 49 years old. As you said, now you're not a child, and you've been through this before. And so, do you usually date guys who are very young?
No, I actually prefer older men. I prefer to date older men, older, classy. I tend to go for the sports jacket or the suits. I feel that if they dress classy, they'll open my door, and
Right.
yeah, they'll open my door and
treat you with
me like a
respect.
like a lady.
Yeah.
I don't want to be treated like a queen. I want to be treated like a lady.
Right. Exactly.
You know,
Act like a lady, be treated like a lady.
I don't want material things. I've been there, done that. I've had it. I have it. You know, I just, what interests me is, what does a man have to bring to the table? I take care of myself. I'm very self-sufficient, very independent. I've got my own money, got my own place.
Let's use that, because if you are an independent woman, and there are a lot of independent women out there, when a man comes up to you and he tries to throw his wealth or his toys or things like that at you, does that carry any weight?
No.
It is. I mean, you don't. That's not of any
Absolutely
value.
not. And I'm being honest. And you've seen, because I mentioned the other day on my Facebook, I had a man. It's a very attractive man. Of course, I think he's Italian, brown hair, brown eyes, olive skin. Very attractive man, just not my type. And he sent me a message and said, "You're absolutely drop dead gorgeous." He said, "I don't have blue eyes.
Right.
But I do have a Ferrari.
Yeah.
And I can drive you around town.
Yeah.
With it. And
buy you dinner and champagne and all that, spend money."
And, my response to him was, "Thank you for the compliments." I said, "Please don't sell yourself short. Your Ferrari does not interest me. If I said yes to your proposal, I would be considered a gold digger or materialistic person.
Absolutely.
So I'm not."
Yeah, and that makes sense, because a lot of young women would jump at that because maybe they've never sat in a Ferrari or so. It's kind of funny because as a guy, and I used to make good money, you know, and then I ended up going into business producing television, so then I spent all my money, so now I don't have any money. But when I made good money, I had good toys. Some people, like young women, might be attracted to toys and fancy cars.
Yes.
Some women, when they grow up, they've already been in a Ferrari.
Yeah.
They've been out to a nice dinner. They've had their door held open. So a couple things happen is they know what they want. They know how they expect to be treated because they've been treated that way. Mm-hmm. There's a catch-22 there where when you are a man and you have brought your status up, you're well-bred, you're well-groomed, and you buy the things that are comfortable for yourself, comfortable for your companion, your mate, and then you become dependent on having those things as offerings to that person. So it's almost not fair that a guy who does have a nice car is considered flaunting his nice car to get what he wants.
Yeah.
I think it's just proving that he knows what a nice thing is. He knows what a nice glass of wine is.
The way I saw it was it was just a turn off. It just turned me off that he would flaunt his. I don't think I've ever looked at a guy's car and said, ooh, you know.
I got to get in that.
Yeah. Yeah.
But there's a difference between saying, I'd love to take you out to dinner, and then showing up in a nice car.
I dated a guy, didn't say anything about where he worked or who he was or anything. We Skyped a few times. He's a very handsome man. Worked in Beverly Hills. I met him at a restaurant, and he said, I'll be driving up. You know, he didn't say what he was driving. And so he says, are you in front of the restaurant? I said, yes. He goes, okay, I'm turning the corner. I should be passing the restaurant in a minute. Mm-hmm. And here turns the corner, a black Ferrari.
Yeah, right.
You know, and that impressed me. Mm-hmm. No, it did impress me because he did not have to use that to lure me in. Right. He just showed up in the Ferrari. Right. And it did impress me. Yeah. And we did date for a while. It was nice. And at the time, I wasn't looking for a relationship. He wasn't looking for a relationship, and we just had a lot of fun, you know. And then we had an understanding, and that was fine. Mm-hmm. But I get turned off when someone flaunts their material things. When someone flaunts their, oh, I'm so good looking,
right?
You know,
right.
Someone might say, well, okay, you're flaunting yourself. No, I'm not. Actually, I'm receiving compliments from you, and I'm accepting them gracefully. But when a guy calls me yummy, the look on my face, I'm gagging.
That's funny.
Seriously, yeah. When a guy calls me yummy, I want to gag. Mm-hmm. When a cutie, I don't like that word, cutie. I can take beautiful or gorgeous or but or pretty lady.
In all fairness, except for the word itself. They're trying to express their opinion in the way they know how to express their opinion. That might tell you something about them, but it also tells you a little bit about what they perceive.
Yeah. When I think of yummy, when they say yummy, I think he just wants to jump my bones.
Right.
And I don't like that.
Probably so. Yeah.
And cutie to me sounds like
sounds like an old guy talking, but really, no offense.
There's someone for everyone. Mm-hmm. You know, I'm a brunette. I have big brown eyes, long black hair. You know, I weigh 25 pounds. You know, and I'm somebody's type. Mm-hmm. I know I'm not everybody's type.
Right.
So it could be just a guy who's not into brunettes, who's saying, oh, she'll do for today. Mm-hmm. You know, so it's hey, cutie, and I just kind of go, it's just, is he one of those that's kind of just throwing a bunch of hooks out there and see what he catches. Right. I had a couple of guy friends that tell me there are guys out there that will throw hooks everywhere.
Sure.
Tons of them.
It's a numbers game.
And they don't care. Yeah, numbers game. They don't care who they hook. Doesn't matter what they look like. They just throw it in.
Well,
Whoever catches that.
let's leave them with that thought, because I'd like to come back. Are you able to come back for just a few more minutes? And
I could do a few
okay,
more.
let's do one more session after this. When I come back, I really would like to talk about some of the things that men say and do that women do and do not like, and see if we can help people with those things. Again, we're recording at Andrews Park, and it's really noisy out. Kids are playing crazy, but we're hoping that He Said, She Said will become a show that's recorded live on location in the future. And so we're going to have noise in the background. But in any event, you're listening to He Said,
She Said.
and again, I'm Michael.
I'm Kay.
Okay, thank you, and we'll see you next time.